and how to stay on a course. And that's all of us aware that is the things what happened regarding with COVID change many things, the way we operate, the way we do things. And I already explained why we initiate this conversation, seeing the value of actually each other's stories. And also we are, when we forced to speak with one another, we're forced to name things. And one of the things what I also learned, we only can change something what we can name. If we don't name it, those things, we cannot change it. And that means we don't learn it, we keep repeating. But again, the value for you guys to kind of connect with the same topic, it's force you to name things. And hopefully you could take some lessons from your own experience and hopefully from each other's experience. And then that's the kind of the question what we want to focus, awareness, resilience, how to stay on course. And I want to start with this kind of image. Yeah, sometimes images helps to connect with the whole topic, because a sentence we interpret differently. But when you think about resilience, it's like standing against the wind, the rain, which try to blow out away you from the place where you stay. I don't know if you have been ever experienced standing on the shore or the sea or high in the mountains. You just think, oh man, it's just hard to stay against that. Or sometimes you don't need the wind. It's enough with the Zoom meetings. You just think, how can I stand up with this again, another day with the Zooms? And those may be the images you experience or get overwhelmed with different aspects. But one thing first I want to ask, before you connect with each other and in the breakout rooms, I want to give you 6 minutes that you try to answer those questions. First, when you think about last 6 months of your ministry, what made you upset? What, when you think about last 6 months, what made you really upset? That it's just really, you're fed up or angry or disappointed. Think about, just name those things and then try to describe it, what impact had on you. What temptations you had to think about yourself, about God, about ministry, what emotions you had, and how you responded. Yes, just give you 6 minutes. Think about those things. And then they will kind of put you in the breakout rooms in fours that you could share those experiences. Yes, that we are here to name it, what has happened, and also to claim it, to have an ownership. Just have 6 minutes, and then they will create breakout rooms that you are 4, maximum 5 people in the groups. Katerina, you've been kicked out from the room, or you left?
I left. No, we had 30 seconds more. And we were like, everybody was waiting to join the big screen, so I just pressed.
I was too much time. Okay.
Yeah, we were just looking at each other.
Then it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. The people who left first, they probably fed up with the conversation, or those people who just waiting when the computer brings them in, then they feel there was not enough time. Welcome back. My experience is you're never able to kind of really 100% guess who has enough time or too much time. Some of you had too much time and some of you enough time. Okay, if you want to kind of in a chat or just unmute, what do you kind of, any common things you kind of recognize through the sharing with one another? Is there a common theme or common experiences, feelings, emotions, behaviors? Many of you maybe nearly left ministry. I don't know. I know some of the people were tempted to do that during this time. Yeah, anything, what you want to kind of share. Is there any common thing? Or you could put in a chat if you feel more comfortable, because Zoom often feels like speaking on a stage, and some of us hate that. But we are friendly people in this room. We don't judge.
We had lots of similarities in our group, from just the frustration of changing plans, or kind of disappointment or anxiety of not knowing whether it's COVID safe or not, or if it's going to turn out kind of okay. And then a bit of that kind of also compounded just by maybe kind of inconsistency in students, whether they've gone home for the holidays and now aren't coming back, or they just seem to come to some kind of activities, but then rules change and you change what you do, and then different students come. And it was, yeah, just this kind of feeling of weariness, just tiredness, not knowing if we can keep working, not sure whether on days where we're not working as much, whether we just need to give ourselves grace or if we're being lazy. Yeah, that was some of our summary.
Thanks, Heidi. Thanks. Yeah, that's also in the chat. You could see the frustration with changing situation, regulation, tiredness, uncertainty, lack of motivation, work on projects. Yeah. In many ways, some of you know, I've been working with a strength finder. It's kind of language which describes, the potential, and we are human beings, and that means we need to sleep, we need to eat, because it gives us energy to function. Even, in the Bible says we don't live by bread alone. Still law of physics apply to us while we are in a body. And it's connected with the strength finder. It's also our strength. There's a certain activities gives us energy, and certain things drains us. And it seems like during COVID time, we experienced many of our strengths being put on a diet. Constantly on a diet. In some ways, if I look on my scale and the weight, it's good to be on a diet. But at the same time, you need to be careful what kind of diet you have, because you need to kind of be aware there's a certain things which in the past, before COVID, gave you energy, but now you cannot do those things. And that means you're constantly on a diet. And that has been one of the kind of challenges, to think, how can I make it through? It's like, keep functioning without sleep, or keep functioning without food. Yes, it drains you. Yeah, there's more things you could put also in the chat, and then you could read it. But we ask with Nay, and Nay will interview two wonderful people who will share again their stories or journey of experience. And remember, the story, it helps us to process our own experience, but sometimes it's also help us to kind of see things from different angle. And as I promised, I took some of those beautiful pictures from their Facebook just to welcome them. And one of this person will be Craig. He's a Star Wars fan. May the Force be with you, Craig. I really like Star Wars. I'm fan of it. And let's see how much the Force been with him during the COVID time, and how he didn't turn to the dark side, what helped him not to give up on the dark side. He don't know yet. And then he's a Gensec of Bulgarian movement. He is originally from US, but I don't know how many years, Craig, you are in Bulgaria? 15?
16 years.
Oh, nearly 16.
Mm.
Yeah, and he married beautiful local girl, Tanya, and then that's kind of, he's stuck there.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
Yes, and the second person whom Nay will interview is Marina. She's from Ukraine. She's ready to fight, and you could ask her more about what's going on now and how she feels, but if she will kind of add that. But these two wonderful people who are willing to kind of be vulnerable and share their experience. And now, Nay, I will let you interview them.
Thanks so much, Igor. So really warm welcome, firstly to Craig. We're delighted, Craig, that you said yes.
Thank you.
Nay, put the mic closer. It's harder to hear.
Sorry, everyone. I've got dodgy mic. Hang on. Okay, hopefully that's better. Can you hear me?
Yes.
now?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've thrown the cat out, so we've got just me and my mic. Okay, Craig, so we really want to hear from you, honestly. Firstly, what contributed or caused a season of weariness in your life? That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm. We are recording, but okay. I'm going to be honest with you. I, in some ways, I feel silly and a little bit vulnerable sharing this, but I'll be honest. I think one of the things that caused quite a bit of weariness in the last few years, or the last year or so, was trying to take upon myself a weight and a worry that I wasn't needed or wasn't supposed to. I as I look back and even look at myself right now, I often live and act and minister as if everything depended on me. And I quickly see problems, and then I'm quick to think that I'm the one who has to solve them. And because of that, I take on more and more because there are a lot of problems. And so I think, oh, it depends on me. If I don't do it, it's not going to get done. And really what I've seen is kind of the root of the problem is that I'm living as if I'm in control of the situation and as if God needed me. I know that sounds ridiculous. And even as I say it, it sounds ridiculous. And I would never say it. I would never, God needs me. But I live and too often, I think I think as if I don't do it, I don't know, God's kingdom is going to fall apart. No, I don't really think that, but I live like that. And so this leads me to working more, to worrying more, to sleeping less, or to at least like when I'm trying to sleep, constantly thinking about all the things that are falling through the cracks, being irritated with people and myself and even with God, and then worrying that I'll be a disappointment to God. Yeah, so this has been something that has kind of compounded and brought me a lot of weariness over the last few years.
Thanks so much, Craig. And I guess all of us hear ourselves in Craig, and some of the things that he's experienced, I've experienced too, and probably you. And this is why what Igor's does in these sessions is so good. Igor's lives in my head sometimes. And I hear him saying you can't change the circumstances, but you can change your response to them. So that's why we're sharing stories today. So Craig, in a kind of very real and honest way, what helped you make it through this time? Lots of people keep telling me, "Nay, go on a sabbatical, take some rest." If I had £1 for every time someone told me to take rest, I would be a millionaire. So please, can you help me out? What helped you make it through?
Yeah. I'm going to say just basically one thing that kind of helped me. It's not like you've never heard it before. It's not something brand new or fantastic, and you're going to give me money for this. But there's one thing that's obviously spending time in Scripture and things like that have been helpful. Spending time with people, being told and reminded of these kind of things is helpful. But there's particularly one idea and one psalm, I guess I would say, that has helped me the most of this time, and that's Psalm 50. And if you know it at all, Psalm 50 is this interesting psalm where God holds court. He brings all of heaven and earth together, and he's gonna judge his people. And it's not something that I expected him to judge them for. It wasn't like they were an idol. Well, it wasn't like the list of things we expect. But mostly it was they were living kind of like I am living often, and that is that they felt like they were serving God, like God needed them, that like somehow their sacrifices or their ministries or their things were some way adding something to God. And so God brings them together and says that that's not the way it is at all. I don't need your sacrifices. I'm not hungry, and if I was in need, I wouldn't tell you. And so then he comes to kind of the central idea of the psalm, and I'll just read Psalm 50, Psalm 50, verses 14 and 15. He says, "Sacrifice thanks offerings to God, fulfill your vows to the Most High, and call on me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you will honor me." And so one of the things that has really helped me actually to kind of stop this negative way of thinking and these negative patterns is just to make time to stop and offer thanks to God. I think as I make more and more room just to be thankful and kind of force myself to be thankful, either writing down things that I've seen or taking time to stop and pray, it helps me out. It has helped me a lot. It's reminded me that I'm not in control, that God is ultimately in control. It reminds me that all I have is from him. It reminds me that the purpose of ministry or whatever is not for me to serve God, but actually to come alongside of him, and he's the one who's serving me. And reminding me that when things are out of control and I don't know what to do, that I could actually trust him. That as I remind myself that God is worthy of thanksgiving, how much quicker I am to go to God again when I've trained myself in that way. So just taking breaks of Thanksgiving, writing what I'm thankful for, reflecting on this, obviously taking time to I know you don't want to hear this, Nate, but to stop and to have a day off or some kind of retreat during the month to stop and specifically to make time to be thankful and to reflect on what God has done, and to kind of remember that he is the one in control.
Thanks so much, Craig. Really, really grateful to you. If you've got more questions for Craig, put them in the chat. Thanks for coming and sharing your honesty. I'd love to invite up Marina. So let me see if I can add you and remove Craig. Sorry, Craig. I'll see you later. Marina, great to see you. And obviously we stand with you in the sadness of hardness of what's happening in your country at the moment. If there are specific things we could pray for, maybe later on when we're off the recording, we could do that together. But thank you so much for joining us. You have a different story to Craig, and we'd love to learn from you. You're a wise woman who has done many years in ministry in Ukraine and student work. You've gone through an awful lot, both in your family and in the workplace. And so we'd love to learn from you. So maybe you could just share a similar question to Craig. What contributed or caused a season of weariness in your life? Thanks, Marina.
So yeah, if I trace myself back to the start of pandemic, I would not believe a word about what life changes I would face that year. Also, I would not believe that that I would have the feeling of being depressed, worn out, because I've always been a very happy, enthusiastic girl who spread the joy, light, and peace. So when the pandemic started, everything possible went wrong. I got to know that my mom had a 4-stage cancer and she was left only 5 months to live. So, and while taking care of my mom, dad was in a hard condition because of COVID. So I had to take care of both of them. And along with that, there were lots of questions in IFS Ukraine about what to do with the student ministry. And as a team leader, I also was thinking about the student ministry in central region of Ukraine and how to adjust to those uncertainties and the reality of pandemic. So finally, I was drained physically, I was drained spiritually, and I was drained emotionally, coping with the loss of my mom. And altogether, I felt depressed and I felt really lonely. And I needed the confirmation that I'm not crazy. And finally, I thought that actually this is not shameful to feel depressed and to feel lonely and to feel that you're drained, because this is because when you say this all wrong, that's all bad, this is fine, because God was creating the earth and he was saying this is good. He was enjoying what he saw. So what we see now is the opposite of the original plan of God. So that helped me to realize that I'm fine, I'm not crazy, that's fine to be mad at death, at virus, at circumstances, because it's not the original plan. And I fell in love with original plan and with God, and who loves and cares. What helped me to get through all that madness, I would say, first of all, a lot of sleep. I was sleeping a lot because when you are physically drained, you have no energy to talk with people, to listen to people. So I was sleeping a lot, and I discovered that the beauty of a sleep, of a dream, that itself a dream and lots of sleep cures your body. It renovates your body. Second, when I was drained spiritually, it was really hard to actually focus on the Bible reading as I used to do. So even 2 verses from the Bible each day was enough for me. I was just focusing and reflecting. And when I felt I had no energy to physically out loud, to pray out loud, I was praying in my mind, God, you know everything, please help me to get through this. Third, I discovered the verse carry the burdens of each other in a completely new way, because that's fine to ask others to help you. This is why church functions. And I was really lucky to be at the program of Global Leadership Impact. And there was a mentor who was having Zooms with me, and she supported me all the way through. And I felt the joy of having that spiritual friendship. And the last one, I think, even when finally I'm getting on the track back, I realize that some new circumstances can come again. So it's not one-off act of mobilization of yourself and spiritual mobilization, but you always should be aware that some new things can come up in your life. So life continues with joys and also with despair. So just to be cautious about that.
Thank you so much, Marina. Is there anything else? Oh, sorry, I've got these crazy new cats that are going stupid. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us before we go into breakout rooms, or is that everything?
I think that's everything.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Marina. Really grateful for your honesty and time. And we hope that those stories were helpful for you. We would love to go into breakout rooms now. Igors has written some questions for us. Igors, have you got anything to say, or shall we just put those questions in the chat? I'll hand over to you. Oh, you're just on mute, Igor, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just want to echoing and say thank you, Craig and Marina, for sharing this. And we would like that you go in a breakout rooms and in a 6 minutes and actually think also in a parallel what Craig said and Marina. And as a group, try to capture when you look back, what can you what helped you make it through and what have you learned? It just let's together as a community try to capture the lessons. And I would like that. Oops, those are the questions, but also let me stop and also sharing the link. As a group, you could put your responses on a Google document, because we don't want to lose the wisdom or encouragement what we have. And you could see a Google document, and as a group, try to capture those lessons. 6 minutes, talk with one another, and as a group, try to capture what helped you.
Hi, I'm back here.
You left behind.
Yes. Oh no, the rapture.
Yes. So
Sorry, Alice, let me
the name will figure out
hang on.
thing. And why I see the value, try to capture, again, name it, what you take away, because as Marina said, things will come up on our journey. Some of the things come, and our life is a marathon rather than a sprinter. And it's good we try to kind of capture some lessons. And when we face those similar things, we're less being surprised, we know how to engage. And because they have an emotional, spiritual, physical impact on us, we also need to respond the same way. That's why it's good to think, what is my strategy? What is the best way to respond to it? And that's why hopefully you could look in that document and you see it, what helped you engage with similar situations. And before kind of asking you to capture what you maybe take away, just I want to point out to one source, which I found helpful. Many of you maybe came across. Pablo Martinez put it together, small booklet, Take Care of Yourself, Survive and Thrive in Christian Ministry. And I found that the content is really helpful in a practical ways, how we can also acknowledge our physical being, not only spiritual part of it, but it's also physical being. And he comes up with those kind of 6 categories. And if you want to, you could take a screenshot or you could find in a book, but basically what you can think about those questions and think about those relationships, because relationships is actually through which we get restored. We are relational beings, not doings. God created us to be in relationship and with him and with one another. And that's one thing. It's just relationship with God, church meaning community, not a building, but community, family, friends, nature, books. You could think about those things. How many of those categories you have in your life, assess their quality, what changes maybe you need to make it. And this could be one of the source or ways which helps you to keep going. God never made us to function alone in this journey. And that's something I would kind of point as a source, and maybe some of you already familiar with this, but this is something practically could help you. It's a small booklet, but I found it very practical, very helpful to address those things. And my last question, it's basically one thing, what you take away personally. Either you could put on a chat or you unmute when you look on this hour, what we spend it together. Yeah, one thing, what you take away from our time together.
We're not alone.
Yes, it's like Marina said, I'm not the only crazy person in this room. Anything else? I'm normal to struggle.
God is always present.
Yeah, it's a question where we're seeking him. Yeah. Thanks, Innocent. Anything else? What helps you? Relationship is the way we get restored. Yes. We need each other. No chocolate, nothing else will restore us. Yes, but that's why we need a conversation. Chocolate gives some energy, yes, Heidi, yes, to have a conversation, to go to the meeting. Reminder how to talking with God and friends helps. Yes. You know, you often experience when you had a conversation, the situation didn't change, but you leave that conversation with more clarity or more peace. And even in the scripture says, God says, come to me and I will give you peace beyond understanding, beyond the things, you know, that what happens and don't happen. Yeah. Calming rhythms. Yes. Hygiene. Thank you, guys. I much appreciate it. And I would want to ask Craig, could you kind of close our time with a prayer? I know you caught by surprise, but I think you're okay. And I really also want thanks Nay, who practically put it together, all this, and made it possible and pushed through this idea. And Marina and Craig, thanks for your vulnerability and honesty. And thanks for the rest of you guys showing up. And I hope you didn't feel the waste of time.